Your November 20th, 2018 Dems or Reality pre-Thanksgiving show, where no turkeys will get hurt during or before the show. Maybe a couple roosters might get choked out because they're damn noisy. Let me tell you, I definitely couldn't live on a farm because, man, the roosters are noisy. Sunday morning, I was volunteering with my son. We were setting up some soccer stuff. It was barely 6 a.m. and all I heard is cock-a-doodle this, cock-a-doodle that, cock-a-doo, any cock-a-doo. And then the dogs are barking because the roosters are barking. Oh my goodness, I couldn't deal with that stuff. But anyway, back to the pre-Thanksgiving show. But firstly, I guess I should say, in case I forget later, because I have selective amnesia, happy Thanksgiving to all, everyone and their families. Be safe, eat lots of food, and enjoy, and forget about everything I'm about to tell you. Now, although Mitch McConnell might be the gobbler, Paul Ryan is the real turkey this holiday season. And Republicans might be giblets, yet the Democrats are running afoul. You know, today's the day, right? In the common world we live, today's the day where people in a hurry, they're in a hurry, yes, people are in a hurry, and they're going nowhere. Drinking more energy drinks, yet having less energy than before. Today is the day. People will be wearing jogging outfits, never get past a walk. Dems or reality? What do you choose? What do you choose? Now, a funny thing, I was starting the show late, of course. I was trying to experiment with some stuff to make the show better, but of course, as most of my endeavors, I failed miserably. But at least it didn't cost me a fortune this time, failing miserably, that is. So, there's one thing, though, that I was reading before. The show is pretty interesting. It's complaints about heaven. So it's a little Twitter hashtag. Things like angels are real clicky, where's my reward? Obviously a little bit different than that. People are always like, well, here's one, you have to die first. Can't have sex. Using your halo as a frisbee is against the rules, apparently. Some of these are quite cute. Do all dogs really have to be there? Even the bad ones. I miss my friend Satan. Do you mind if I invite him over? I'm sure there's always somebody. Heaven, it's just a place on earth, right? Belinda Carlisle. And there are just other ones, hard to move up the corporate ladder because of all the blatant nepotism. So that's a complaint about heaven people have, right? Of course, you'll have some people say, oh, this cloud smoke doesn't smell like weed. Or maybe somebody who likes handbags say, all the Pradas are downstairs. But a good one I like was, I didn't even like gated communities on Earth. Now that's true. Ain't that funny? There's no beer up here. I'm sure there's probably beer in heaven. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I would think there would be. And it might even be tasting good on calorie play. Hey, all the pillows might be fluffy and you might not like that. But, too many people are happy up there, right? And then there was one, political one, as our show is tinged that way. A picture of Hillary and Bill Clinton, and it said, these two swindling kleptocrats will manage to get their foot in the door and talk Jesus into letting them run the place. This will introduce the late stages of heaven right before total collapse. Ain't that the truth, my friends? Ain't that the truth? Oh well. So, onward bound, right? Much more to talk about. If we want to get on the less serious side, Facebook suffers a brief outage. Utopia breaks out around the world. Then there's 9 Habits of Highly Effective Pastors. That ought to be a great read. Or how about California legislation unveils plan to raise taxes on wildfires until they move out of the state. It's kind of like the theme of California. And there's also the Duggar family discovers they forgot they even had a kid in the couch cushions. You know. There's, yeah. Trump suggests California deploy watertight Pokemon. Now, some people actually might believe that stuff. Man unsure why wife taking so long to get self and 3 kids ready for church. How about, here's one. Pelosi, if I'm not elected speaker, millions will die. Sounds about right for her. The Florida recount, as you know, is all wrapped up, and I think Al Gore was declared the winner. Plastic container, though, was found slightly before the wrap-up, with the label "Total Legit Ballot Box," found at a part of the Florida polling place. So somebody printed out the label, slapped it on there, "Total Legit Ballot Box." It was left behind at a polling site in Broward County. An anonymous caller tipped off election administrators. Hey, look, there's a box of uncounted ballots. We'll have to count this too. It says right on there, they're official and they're legit. You know, we don't want votes not to be counted, right? We'll count anything, alive, dead, whatever, we'll count it off. You know, what else is new, right? And that might be all for the non-serious news. I don't know. Let's see. We can go Broward County, that Snipes lady, but that's just too easy. How about, here's one. Citing need to believe all women, Avenatti immediately pleads guilty to domestic violence charges. Citing his deeply held conviction that we should believe all women, him and his buddy, Avenatti Mazie Hirono, you know, Avenatti, whatever the heck his name is, lawyer, an advocate for oppressed females. He's going to immediately plead guilty to domestic violence charges. Of course, we should believe all women, not just when it's politically expedient, right? He would like to deny the charges and call them a vicious attack on his political career, but he can't do it in good conscience. That would totally be inconsistent with his own rhetoric over the past year. So instead, Avenatti will plead immediately guilty. And of course, he wants the judge to grant him the maximum possible sentence. He asked for the death penalty, but was disappointed to discover that such a punishment is not typically administered for domestic violence crimes. He vowed to change that, however. He'll spend all of his hopefully lengthful sentence behind bars fighting to get the death penalty approved for his case and countless other people who have abused women. He is, remember, an advocate for women. You know? And that's good old Michael Avenatti. And, you know, that was obviously tongue-in-cheek, pun, humor, sarcasm, all the above. Now, what I'll say is, he's obviously innocent until proven otherwise. He has a right to his due process. Although he looks like a fool now, and he's always looked like a fool, you know, it's, yeah. It is what it is, right? So, next up, let's see. Conor McGregor deemed unfit for Supreme Court due to his temperament. Yeah, well, if they say that about Kavanaugh, they'd have to say the same thing about our boy Conor McGregor. Now, let's see here. So, 2 more days before Thanksgiving. And of course, in the news today, we had the big stock market erasing gains for the year. which, yeah, numbers-wise, it's true for that, but in reality, we all know that the people that make the money already made the money, and they sell it. And then when it crashes and goes down low, they buy it back at the cheaper price. You buy it at 15, you sell it at 40, it crashes down to 20 or 10, and you buy it again, and so forth and so on. As you'll see, Monday it'll start to come back. But one of the biggest reasons, I'm sure, that helped start this was a tech boom, and a lot of that is obviously problems with Facebook. There's a lot of volatility in there. And, these businesses, like we've learned before when tech's crashed. Remember they had the Super Bowl commercial with the horse? Was it like the horse and the chimp was on there and he was crying? It was a pun on the Indian commercial. Well, the tech's crashed because a lot of them are built on really nothing of value. They're not making anything, so it's like a figment of the imagination. Yeah, it's popular, whatever, but obviously it can crash easy because there's nothing to back it up. You can't produce more, you can't cut back. It is what it is. Let's see, we had, of course, Barack Obama talking about himself, saying confused, blind, shrouded with hate, has mommy issues. He thinks he was talking about Trump, and he says how Trump's projecting it. He's projecting and talking about himself. That's the dude who had mommy issues, and how couldn't he? I mean, So let's see here. Let's look at some comedy, right? Dem or reality? You can have the Dems perspective or the reality. Now, funny stuff is who's going to run in 2020 for the Dems. Don't worry about Trump. Trump's there. We know about it. But who do we have? We have, from my home state, Senator Cory Booker. Now, the guy's a freaking embarrassment. I mean, the Spartacus moment. It's like, I don't think he can run because he'll have tennis elbow from all the patting of himself on the back. I'm having a Spartacus moment. I'm so great. Like, other people usually call that. You don't call that yourself. I mean, man, talk about Ricky Henderson moment more like. Remember when Ricky stole the base and considered himself the greatest of all time? I'm the greatest of all time. But at least he did something. Cory Booker, on the other hand, declaring himself the greatest and did nothing. So this guy's going to run for president? He's a schmuck. Kamala KKK Harris. Yeah, no thanks. Everybody else is part of the KKK. ICE is the KKK. I mean, here's a girl who's supposed to be the Me Too, for women's rights and all this. And how'd she get promoted? She spread for a married man. Who was that married man? Well, you know the governor of California, former governor of California. Yeah, but, don't worry about it. She's all about the merits, right? Maryland? John Delaney? Yeah. What do you know about him? Obviously nothing. I don't either. Michael Bennett? Whichever. Dude from Colorado. Cuomo from New York. That would be hilarious. I would love for Andrew Cuomo to try to run. That would be freaking hilarious. I mean, what else do we have here? I don't know. There's... Who knows? I don't know. But maybe some former Barack Obama advisors could run. That ought to be interesting. I'm sure Pocahontas has already done. Maybe Stacey Abrams can run. And then when she doesn't win, she could call us all racists. I mean, talk about a sore loser. It's not even a sore loser. Just, if you don't think it was right, whatever, have a recount. You lost again, I don't know, whatever. You can try to find something. But the constant, insulting of people, she's a leading voters' rights advocate. Please, she couldn't care less. If you put ass on a ballot and checkmarked it, she'd want to count that for her own vote. That's all she cared about. I mean, she's an embarrassment. And you see the quality people she hangs out with. Lowlifes like Oprah Winfrey and Barack Obama. Two people that have done nothing for America. I mean, remember what Oprah is. She's a figment of the media's imagination. You saw her when her show had to hold its own, when she had her own network. It's nothing. She has to run other people's programming. That's what her channel should be called, right? OPP. OPP. You down with OPP? Because that's Oprah's network. Other people's programming, right? That's all Oprah's got there. She's a joke. She's nasty to people. She's a fake, a fraud. You know, and that's the type of people that Adams is with. So, whatever. What else do we have on the news? We have, obviously, the Khashoggi thing. I mean, like, Trump's in a no-win situation there. I mean, what are you going to do? What, you want to bomb Saudi Arabia? Come on, seriously. Let's be realistic about it. I mean, there's many ways to look at it. Obviously, you can't condone that behavior, not good, killing somebody, but to be honest, everybody's like, oh, this guy's American's a journalist. Like, who cares if he's a journalist, to be honest? Really irrelevant. Okay, American citizen, that's of importance. Human being of more importance than any of it. The fact that he's a journalist or not a journalist, are we supposed to value the life any different? Seriously. He's a human being, we value the life. You know, I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I'm one that would like to stay out of other countries' affairs. Because if you're going to go down this road, then why are we doing any business with China? You know, why are we doing any business? Why do we reopen things with Cuba? Shouldn't happen. Speaking of Cuba, right? Remember who was one of the first to run down there on the supposed Republican side? Yeah, that was Jeff Flake. This guy is an out-and-out loser. Let me tell you. Jeff Flake. I used to think that was a perfect name for him, but I think now more it's Jeff Loser. I hear all these people in Arizona, you know, I live here, talking about what a nice guy he is. Oh, he's such a nice guy, and I get along with him, blah, blah, blah. You know, in reality, Jeff Flake is a fraud. They say he's fiscal because, yeah, this guy is fiscal. Yeah, right. He's a fiscal police. He's not even a fiscal conservative. This guy couldn't show up to vote against Obamacare. Excuses galore. This guy, I mean, still anti-Trump to this day. Doesn't care about getting any conservative judges in there. You know, tried to block Kavanaugh. There's nothing about this dude. And I don't care if he doesn't get along with Trump. Okay, that's his choice, whichever. You know, Trump's made many mistakes. But the reality of this is, there's nothing about Jeff Flake that's Republican. There are a lot of shady Republicans out there. But you can't even classify Flake in that. He's just a pompous jackass, to be honest. And the reason why he didn't run is because he knew he was going to lose. And they're talking about this guy making a presidential run. What, on a Democrat ticket? And he'd still lose on that. Trust me. This guy is a fraud. Now, obviously we have Dems are reality, right? The math don't add up. Now, you look at Orange County, it's traditionally one of the parts of California that's Republican. And in 2016, the majority of it, I think it was 4-2 Republican as far as Congress, and now it's 0-6. No Republicans, all 6 Democrats. And you're like, well, they turned California because of this and that, yada, yada, yada. But if you look, okay, not California as a whole, because it goes by the area you live in. If you look at Orange County, you had Gavin Newsom, who was well-known, a decent-looking guy, you know, and that's part of what people like in politicians. Sorry to tell you that, but it is. Looks matter. As in anything else in life, looks matter. You have Gavin Newsom, well known, obviously very liberal-leaning state, but in Orange County, John Cox, who was a Republican governor, or running as a Republican governor, who didn't even have a good campaign, didn't have the money to match Newsom, didn't put up much of a great fight. He beat Gavin Newsom. So obviously, the majority of that county is Republican, because if you're any bit of a Democrat, you're voting for Gavin Newsom. So now we're supposed to believe that all these people have Democrat feelings, but yet the biggest candidate from Democrat to Republican, Gavin Newsom, didn't win in that county. Probably one of the only ones who didn't win. So then you look at the districts. A loss, a loss, a loss, a loss, a loss. Right? So if you look at the difference between the House races and the voting for governor, you'll see there were almost 300,000 more Democrat votes in Orange County for the local races than voted for the governor. So interesting. Now, even Democrats alone only had, you look at the disparities, somehow more people voted for smaller races, and that was actually just total votes, not Democrats, I guess. Almost 300,000 more votes in all the House races than there were for the governor. It doesn't make sense. If you're voting for anything, you're going to vote for governor. And sometimes the House race, you don't know who these guys are, like the dog catcher race or this or that. You just skip it. But usually you vote from high to low. So people decided they would skip the governor and vote for the House races. So, you had a Republican candidate who led, I should say, because he didn't win overall, but Orange County, and every single House seat went to the Democrats, and most of that happened after Election Day, by the way. You see, 3 of those Republicans were clearly winning when the polls closed. You look at the polls closed, and some of these Republicans were up by like 10 points. It was in the bag. Pretty much the other person was done, and now all of a sudden, boom. So, it's just, the seats were stolen. And this is it's just a test for the presidential election. You know what it is. There should be a special prosecutor investigating this fraud. Put Georgia into the mix. We have no problem with that. Florida, Arizona, whatever, any other state, Not only do you have illegals voting, but then you have the found votes by the Democrats. In so many elections, they find votes. It's amazing. You can have an area voting 75% Republican, and yet somehow all the votes found, amazingly, are Democratic votes. So it just doesn't make sense. Where are the penalties for people like Snipes in Florida, who just kept on recounting totals, and just, even in things when they counted it and it showed no favor for them, and they held it after the deadline. Snipes has been in trouble for doing this type of stuff multiple times. I mean, when is someone like that? Elections aren't a game. This is the country's well-being. Whether you agree or not, still, it has to be taken care of. And then we have one of the big news today. The U.S. judge stalls the enforcement of Trump asylum restrictions. Obviously, it's going to go up to the court. Now, it's going to go, obviously, up to the Ninth Circuit, and then eventually the Supreme Court. Now, I don't know why Trump can't file an injunction, just like Jim Acosta did, and say, wait a minute, we have to enforce our new law until otherwise. Because it's not really a new law, they're just enforcing the real law. And Obama tried to change that by making anybody who makes it to America have asylum. That's not the original law, that wasn't the intent of the original law, and Obama was trying to rewrite history, So, people are saying Trump's rewriting immigration laws. He's not, though. He's not rewriting any immigration law. Obama was actually the one who had an executive order and changed it. It's just that simple. You can't just get asylum because you come in whatever way you want here. There's places to enter, and you get asylum, you're running from one country, then it's right to the next. If a murderer is chasing you and you're running out of your house and they're coming after you, you bang on the first door that's able to help you. You don't say, no, I'll wait till I find a nicer house. It's the first person that can help you. And that's what asylum is set up for. And yet these people are just doing whatever they want on that fact. Sorry. And of course we knew that, oh no, only the good people are coming over. Yeah. Really? That's funny because 6 Bangladeshis apprehended in 12 hours at the Texas border. Think about it. It's almost like a store with shoplifters, right? You catch a shoplifter, and of course, every shoplifter says, it's the first time I've ever stolen anything. Yeah, right. If you believe that, you're a moron. If you believe that's the only person that was shoplifting from your store, you're a moron as well. You missed multiple people. Well, because some of them are slick, you're busy, things happen. For every one you catch, there's probably 12 you don't. So, that's the way it is. And that's the way it'll happen. That's why you have to have everything secure. Now, liberals, they're saying they want to boycott Georgia because the election didn't go their way. And people are saying, then why don't they boycott the U.S. and get out? Well, liberals, the Dems, they boycott the USA every day by being anti-American. And then it's a tip of libs. They're not going to leave here because they're squatters. That's it. No more, no less, right? Ugh. Kirsten Powers dated Anthony Weiner. Isn't she one of the people talking to us about morality? What is she going to say? Anthony Weiner lied to me. He told me he was a good guy. Oh my gosh. Hey, my quote of the week, I guess, would be, the only thing better than being elected governor of Florida is being elected twice in 2 weeks. Governor-elect Ron DeSantis. That's a good one. I like that. Now, you think about California having 5 or 6 extra representatives in the House of Representatives because the U.S. Census counts illegal aliens. So how is that a balance of power? How is that fair? And that's exactly why some people, not the people of reality, but Dems, they want to get rid of the Electoral College. Why? Because they know they can win elections. They'll have a huge vote. it'll be counted just as much as yours. Let me tell you, if an illegal votes, or somebody votes in somebody else's name and has their second vote, that devalues my vote. So my vote is like what? 1/10 of what it should be? How's that fair to me? How do people that don't pay any taxes get to vote and they're equal to me? So you can vote yourself a raise, you want some more free stuff? I'm sorry, but I'm not saying poor people can't vote. Poor people can vote all they want. But if you're on the public take and you don't want, then yeah, to be honest, I don't think you should vote. What about people that own businesses? So let's say you're a tax-paying citizen and then you own a business and pay taxes through that. You don't get any more votes, but you have more taxes you pay. You have more things. You have to protect yourself. You have to protect your business. So then you have other people who don't pay any taxes and whatever, and their vote counts as much as yours. Some reward for being good in society and productive. Yeah. A California judge, interesting thing coming out of California, has ruled Twitter can be sued for falsely advertising free speech. That is pretty amazing. Superior Court Judge Harold Kahn. Now, I hate lawsuits and all that stuff, but I will say that I believe in all this stuff, because in this particular thing, they say there's free speech, but when they're constantly taking some people's speech away and letting other people talk about hate and murder and how they want to kill people, and that's okay, then it's not free speech. It's whatever we deem. So it's not a level playing field, as the libs like to say, but then they don't like. And in that sense, besides for Twitter and Facebook, people spend years building up their network, whether it's Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, eBay, right? You spend your time building a business, and they're your partner, supposedly. And then they change the game or the rules, and you get punished. Sometimes through no fault of your own. It's not like social media where you said something and then they click you off and they say, well, you shouldn't have said that. And even though they're letting their friends say that, which it's bad, it's not that level playing field that let's talk about. That's bad enough. But what you have is, like with eBay, maybe you could say, or another, you put all that time, you sacrifice profit to build something, and that's the way you get rewarded with extra views and whatnot, and then they just destroy it in one day. And now all your hard work, you back down to zero. It's kind of like you building a big store, getting your shelving in, getting everything looking good, you have it clean, you start making money, and then someone comes and breaks your building. Now you have to start over again. You have to make it look nice, put this in, and now you've been closed for it. Build it up again, get your customers back, and you do it again, and then they knock it down again. Not only does it get tiresome, but it's not fair. It's like having a partnership with someone. We're supposed to be partners, and they're purposely destroying the business. So maybe they get what they need out of it, but you, which were looking for profit or whatnot, don't get what you need out of it. There's some responsibility there. Now, we know that there's been Mexican journalists inside exposing the truth about the caravans, robbing, carjacking, raping, nothing different than the Occupy movement. But you also know that there were people in Tijuana We're saying Trump was right, it's an invasion, which it is. When you have people who are running from a country that oppressed them, but yet they're carrying that country's flag and chanting for it, it makes no sense. If that country's trying to kill you or treat you badly and you're running away from that, then why would you carry their flag? It makes no sense. Why would you be chanting for them? But also these people are in Tijuana trashing this town, and then they're complaining about the free stuff they're getting. It's not the quality they want. And I could understand wanting better, but if you're getting something for free, you don't want it, don't take it. But to complain about it is pretty ridiculous and rude. Slapping the hand that feeds you. Now, on a serious note here. We do know Thanksgiving's coming up. And for some of you, it's 1 day away. And for other of us in another time zone, it's like 2 days away. But if you see a turkey and you're ready to cut, if you're the farmer or somebody out there and you raise your turkey and you're about to kill it, what if your turkey is 1024th bald eagle? Would you kill it? Or would you let it live because it's a protected species? That's really the question for Thanksgiving you have to ask yourself. If your turkey is 1024th% bald eagle, does it get to live? You can send me your answers and theory on them. Now, Eric Small, whatever this buffoon's name on, he's arguing about what he said in the past about taking people's guns and whatnot. But I was just reading through a comment that he left, and he says, Snoop's debunked this. Because he's saying people are lying about his comment. I mean, Snoop's debunk something? Snoop's debunking something is like, it's like saying Anthony Weiner debunks he ever did anything wrong. The true sense of liberalism is a mental disorder. Dems or reality. What are you going to take? Dems or reality? Now, how ridiculous these people are is Adam Shipped for Brains actually tweeted out, President Trump just attacked me on Twitter with the most profane insult yet. Will you chip in $5 to send Trump a message and show him you stand with that? Unbelievable. Now, the pandering, the money begging. Will you send $5 to good old Adam Shit for Brains because Trump insulted him? Now, I feel that these Dems are attacking us every day. So, will they send us $5? We'd like cash. And to know. So I'm sure a lot of people saw that the Gonzaga DiMappa game. If you haven't, look it up. There's some clips of it on YouTube. There's I think a Catholic high school prep championship. I mean, what an unbelievable, it was more wild than the Chiefs-Rams game. Man, oh man, was it wild. Now, remember, Trump said that if the forests were cleaner, if they were managed better, these fires wouldn't have been so bad. And like I said last week, you see that on the reservation. It's cleaned out better, and they don't have types of fires like this. And if you ask around, ask loggers and stuff like that, they'll agree with what Trump said. The forest is mismanaged. It needs to be cleaned from the bottom. It needs to be cut some places to have paths where the fire can't jump over it, and it'll stop a lot of these things before they get out of hand. So here's a question for all you good California liberals. Biggest fire ever, right? Not debatable. Is it the biggest? Is it the second biggest? Irrelevant. So much damage, so many people dead. It's very sad. But we have fire victims in California living in tents. Yet you have Democrats bringing in illegals, set them up with free housing, free food, free education, and jobs. How come you can't get the same treatment? You know? We had another winner, activist, lawyer arrested on an Air India flight, telling everybody she's an international crime lawyer for the Palestinian people. Now, and you won't even give me another blanking glass of wine. Fill in the blank on that. I'm the leader of the blanking boycott movement. Should boycott yourself, right? But not. We have our new congresswoman. Is that Ilhan Omar? Who obviously they're trying to make, Minnesota, of course, trying to make the, make sure on the floor there's no, in the Congress, no rule against her wearing the headdress, which you're not allowed to do. It's always been the law, yada, yada. But of course these people want to change it. You know, and she's denying the fact that she said all white men should be put in chains as slaves. Whichever, but you saw one of the first things after she got elected, next day. Yep, Israel this, Israel that, Israel this, Israel that. You know. And then, of course, we had this week the lawyer giving Jim Acosta his press pass back. What a just trash. I mean, it's not his press pass. Firstly, it's the American people's. But whatever. Yeah, he needs it for work. He's getting damaged because he can't have it for work. What about me? I'm getting damaged. Like I said, my YouTube channel, this video would be so much better if I could do it from the White House, right? I'd get more views, more followers. I'd earn money maybe one day. So, yes, I'm being damaged because I don't have a press house credential, right? Yeah. Now, we have, of course, an unprecedented decision. It's a threat to our democracy. Our country deserves better. First, it's not a threat to anything. Send another reporter. That's it. But do you remember in 2009 when a black female Christian reporter was physically dragged out of the press area? Do you? Now, Brenda Lee was working for the Georgia Informer at the time. She had a press pass for the briefing. So all of a sudden, a staff member, a white male, left, and this time he comes back with 4 people. And so they wanted me to follow them. This is what Brenda was saying in her own words. And it's like, you know what? I'm here to get a story. What's the problem here? Well, next thing you know, Lee was being physically dragged out of the event by several Secret Service members. She wanted to ask the president his stance on traditional marriage, right? So an officer had come up to her and said, we can do this the easy way or we can do this the hard way. And one of the people, the 4 backed off, and the other 3 persisted, dragged her past the press and back to an area where the security people were. No national outrage, right? No mainstream media, nobody writing letters for her, because it was Obama, the darling of the media, and not President Trump. Now, you know that wasn't the first time that happened, right? It wasn't, and I heard that Miss Lee actually passed away last year. But remember, Obama had James Rosen, and his family wiretapped. He had other reporters wiretapped. And the excuses range from Obama wasn't at that presser, but you know what? She was asking questions. She was kicked out. How about Obama spied on many people, right? Many people have been spied on from Obama, to political foes like Donald Trump, to members of the press, to people who didn't like the global warming agenda. He spied on them too. He spied on everybody. There's not a group of people that he hadn't spied on. I'm sure he even spied on some people that are supposed to be his friends. Now, that being said, this isn't the only incident of Obama's tenure that a reporter was dragged out. If you remember, there was another reporter that was roughed up, thrown to the ground, had his suit ripped, glasses messed up, and he was just trying to ask some questions. And some big security dude came out. And then, of course, there were the other people that had stuff like that happen too, that were, attacked under the Obama things. Like somebody selling Republican stuff at a rally, getting attacked, hot dog vendors, hot dog carts getting destroyed out. The violence was there. And the violence is usually, for the most part, one side. There's Dems or there's the reality. The story they're hearing or the reality. But nobody cared about the journalists then. Nobody gave a damn. Now, all of a sudden, well, everyone cares. So, we had Ben Rhodes, of course, lapdog of Obama. Now, he was talking about we're faced with the real possibility that Trump has info from his intel community that the Saudi prince was responsible for murdering a journalist who wrote for the Washington Post and lied about it. And they're saying that Trump helped him get past it, must be investigated. Well, Trump didn't help him do anything. But you had Obama, who demanded doctored info from his own intel community, downplayed the threat that we had from Al-Qaeda, right? Ignored the rise of ISIS, colluded with Iran to, quote-unquote, stop militarizing its nuclear program. Must be investigated, right? Interesting. So violence broke out, right, at one of these caravans in Mexico. 3 journalists hurt, injured. 4 was CNN, MSNBC, CBS, NBC, ABC. Right? Where were they at? Sorry. Nobody cares, right? They say the illegal voting around is called the shadow wagon. I don't know. Hey, here's one that was just found out by Judicial Watch, which does a great job. Tom Fitton and the boys and the women, a great job. They're a government watchdog organization. They constantly are suing to get information from, the Obamas. They've, gone after Trump and stuff to get information about things. But they found out recently that good old taxpayer money-saving Michelle Obama listed her daughters as senior staff on her trip to Africa that cost $424,000. So the trip was supposed to have originally cost $300,000 for the flight and crew alone. And then the suspicions came in when the aircraft bill came back $424,000. So Judicial Watch requested to transport records under the Freedom of Information Act. Of course, the Obama administration refused to produce them, as they refused for everything. The organization was forced to sue to get the information. So This trip became an opportunity for the Obama family to go on a safari more than it was a trip to conduct official government business. It's a waste of taxpayer dollars, resources. Our military's already overextended. Now they have more stuff to do. But of course, they'd be sued to pry the information loose, right? Because they don't give up any of that information. Better they destroy it. We had the 6 inches of snow, right, in New York. And good old mayor, Bill de Blasio, in charge of everything, got it under control, right? Good old de Blasio, under control. Not so much, right? Not so much. Just 6 inches of snow, which is not much in the New York, New Jersey area. Incompetence of the local government. Chaos pretty much paralyzed the metro area. The Port Authority, the city sanitation, and education departments weren't even ready for any of it. Unplowed roads, underplowed roads, not passable. The GW Bridge and Bayonne Bridge is closed. Train delays, flooded Penn Station. Of course, they could have done better, as Governor Phil Murphy of Jersey said. And then, of course, you had Mayor Bill de Blasio. It was a matter of the sanitation department dropping the ball. Now, the sanitation chief, right, is in charge of removing paint, lead paint across the city. That's what's taking up so much time, and that's why you can't get plowed areas. That's okay. There were others that blamed everybody else. Special needs kids, toddlers, and teens were stuck on school buses for up to 12 hours. And you thought the airports were bad, right? In West Orange, New Jersey, which is a darling of a town, I know, roads were blocked. Kids had to stay in school overnight. Awesome. Good job. But de Blasio, he whined. He was out there in the paralyzing traffic. So he was a victim too. But de Blasio didn't get the point here. The point is, Bill, when you felt that mayor of everything, you've done is, it was only a few inches of snow, so why were there so many problems? And that's a real question we gotta ask. I know the answer. De Blasio's incompetent and only worried about what he can get for himself. To free this, to free that, he's got to snooker people, he needs to knish off the top. That's what he wants, because he doesn't want a crumb of the knish. He wants the whole damn knish. And that's Bill de Blasio in a nutshell. Fraud, fraud, fraud. Mayor Bill de Blasio, just reelected, trying to fire the investigations commissioner. Fire and threaten anybody who knows how dirty you are. Right? Yeah. And of course, if we need any levity or levitation, there's also always Ocasio-Cortez. Can't wait for her to be inaugurated in January 3rd around. She'll be signing bills left and right. She'll be passing new amendments to the Constitution. Matter of fact, she might just rip up the damn thing. For Ocasio-Cortez, who's so poor, yet I see her in new clothes every time, Can't be that poor if you have new $1,000 clothes every day. But putting the facts aside, good old Ocasio-Cortez is always here to bring us the aorta of problems that are in the world. The chamber. 3 chambers of our health. Good old, or good young, Ocasio-Cortez. Now, a good old California, remember they just elected Dianne Feinstein, an 86 years old, to serve another 6-year term. Now, why would you want to run when you're 86? I mean, to be honest, you're so rich beyond belief. What is the point? You want to do good? Do some volunteer work. Donate some money. I mean, you've got mental problems, to be honest. If you're 86 and you're running in this political field right now for a 6-year term, you got problems. Let it go, man. But think about it. It's the same Dianne Feinstein who had a Chinese spy for a driver. And, of course, she withheld the Christine Blasey Ford story. But she cares. The same Dianne Feinstein who, the art in San Francisco that she borrowed went missing. That Dianne Feinstein. The same Dianne Feinstein whose husband got the deal on those old post offices and made billions of dollars. The same Dianne Feinstein, good old Di, who is head of the Intelligence Committee, and like we said, had a spy working for her. That's good old Feinstein. Oh, by the way, no voter fraud, right? 9 more people arrested for voter fraud in Texas. Yes, I know voter fraud doesn't happen, but fraudulent voters lied about their address in order to vote for a candidate. 10 people registered to vote from the same address. So 9 people arrested, 14 total people accused. It's the second time the AG's office made sweeping arrests in connection with the hotly contested November 2017 race when longtime Mayor Richard Garcia was ousted and a new majority led by Mayor Richard Molina was ushered in. But we know there's no voter fraud, right? It's kind of like that story of the tax returns where there's like 50 people at the same address getting tax returns. Of course, checks, I should say. Now, Trump picked a Mar-a-Lago member / handbag designer to be the ambassador to South Africa. Now, that's just a poor move, Trump. I mean, it's a female Avenatti, this chick. She didn't pay her bills. She has a lot of parallels to Avenatti. And then, to top that off, she's going to be the ambassador to South Africa when she probably has handbag design. They have stuff that should be on the no-kill list as far as animals for South Africa, right? We all heard, I'm sure about the story that a teacher, Florida, of course, everything these days seems to happen in Florida, but a Florida school district decided to force a male PE teacher watch a female student change in the boys' locker room. Yes. Interesting, right? No, not really. Actually, very sad. So obviously, a teacher doesn't want to see any other students, guy or girl. You know, at least normal teachers don't. So, of course, this was under the transgender rights. So, You have a girl who thinks she's a boy. They let her in the boys' locker room. Boys caught with their pants down, right? Embarrassing, right? Well, they don't like it. School told people, don't talk about this. And now they have wanted the coach to sit there and watch. They're making the world safer for people. So you had an adult male who didn't want to look at a minor girl getting undressed. And the girl says she's a boy. And now he's being punished. Think about it in any other circumstance. If they told, hey, teacher, we need you to look. Only in the world of Democrats. Not in reality, only in the world of Democrats. Can you get in trouble for not wanting to watch an underage girl get undressed? Only with the Democrats can that happen. You would think, I don't know, you would thank the guy, say, wow, you're a good teacher. That's why we don't do that stuff. Nope, you get punished. Sorry, my friends, you get punished. So the moral of the story today was, you can have Democrats or you can have reality. Democrats or reality. Just like the Japanese cybersecurity minister who couldn't use a computer. Has the job, should be the new DNC IT department head. Move over, Juan, because that story ain't forgotten. That's what you get from the Dems. Or you can have the reality of it all. The reality of it all is that a lot of dirty Republicans. Or you can have the Dems, which are a danger to your health and life. So that'll end this week's reality check. Have a great Thanksgiving. And yes, it's about the food. But more importantly, that's just a little rise for you that's quick. It's about the family. Enjoy some time with them. And enjoy your food, of course. Be safe. And have a great Thanksgiving. We'll see you next week on The Reality Check.